like in here, it's painful, it's tender. Like maybe it's pressing against nerves, I don't know what it is, it's uncomfortable.
And so with this kind of edema, up 53 pounds, I'm surprised he doesn't hurt everywhere. Is there a spot on his body that makes sense? I'm surprised he even talked that he can stand up 53 pounds. Let that sink in. Coach Greg, and you knew it was coming. Larry Wheels gains 53 pounds in 5 days, and I warned him. I met up with him, interviewed him. He was up about 35 pounds at the time. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And yet he still doesn't listen.
So this is my first time getting fully depleted for a show. I did use diuretics to make weight and to have that dry, hard look on stage. And I had to use them twice.
And so the first thing you need to know to understand is that he did use diuretics leading up to this competition. This is going to further exaggerate the problem. Had he not used diuretics, the post-show weight gain, the rebound, it would have been a lot smaller. Would not have been nearly as dangerous. When you take diuretics, you're depleting your body of much needed electrolytes, and it causes the body to get more dehydrated than it normally could have. And so following this competition, you have to be even more careful. But unfortunately, Larry, he didn't care. He just went out and had, get this, 20,000 calories in one day alone. 20,000, not 10,000, not a big cheat meal, a cheat entire day. And he feels like, yeah, this is what it's like to be a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders, they go on crash diets. Remember, he ate 1,200 calories a day for 3 straight weeks leading into this competition. And so following that, once the floodgates open, they didn't stop. He ate and ate, he did. He literally ate himself to a 53-pound weight gain in 5 days. This may, in fact, be a record, and it's very, very dangerous. You think it's dangerous to take PDs? This is even more dangerous.
I fully intended to binge eat after the show as a reward for the hard work of 6-week starvation I put myself through.
Okay, so I'm not making this shit up. He's literally saying, I fully intended to binge eat after the show. Basically, that's an ED. And I'm not talking about erectile dysfunction for the downstairs. Talk about something else. When you intentionally plan to binge on 20,000 calories after dehydrating your body, after starving yourself, it's not good. You don't plan these things. What I often tell my clients is the real diet starts the day after the show. It's relatively easy to get shredded dieting for a competition. You're going to get up on stage, show off your physique, but following the show, when no one's looking, that is when the true diet starts. And so what he should be doing is planning a reverse diet. Yeah, I get it. You starved yourself for a while. Have a big cheat. Good. Go ahead. 5,000 calories, maybe even 6. But 20,000? What is going to happen with all that food? Is there any possible benefit to doing this? And I don't think so. And so why put your health in jeopardy? Why do something that you know is not good for you? You just finished competing, dehydrating. That is not good. It's not healthy. And so why don't we try to do the best that we can to limit our risks?
As of right now, I weigh 284 pounds. I don't even think I've consumed enough fluid and solid food to add up to 40 pounds inside of my body right now.
And so here's the thing. If you're up 52 pounds of something entered your mouth. You're not absorbing food particles, water from the air. You had to have swallowed at least 53 pounds of food and or water to gain 53 pounds in body weight.
I just don't understand where it all came from.
Well, Larry, it came from the food and the drinks that you put into your body. It literally had to be that. You are in control of your body. And yes, you have a coach, but in the end, you decide what goes into your body or not. I would have thought perhaps after 30 pounds, I'm going to hold off on the 5 burgers. And after 40 pounds, well, I'm not eating anymore now. Why would I need to? But 50? What number results in you stop eating? I mean, is there no end to this? There's no control whatsoever. And trust me, this is not bodybuilding. Although many people rebound after a show, it's not supposed to happen. If you know what you're doing, if you control the foods that you're eating, what you're drinking, you don't need to gain weight to this extent. And so think of it. Following the show, do you really think it's smart to have 17 days worth of food in one single day? That would be the same thing like saying, instead of injecting my shots every other day, I'm going to do it in my entire cycle in one single shot. Let's do it. 20 cc, here we go. Not safe, not smart. Why would you do it?
Immediately after the show, the first thing I did is went to my favorite burger spot, Five Guys.
And so what you do after a big diet, and I don't care if it's for bodybuilding, for any diet, perhaps it's New Year's vacation, is you ease off. You start eating a bit more calories. Perhaps you add 500, maybe 1,000 calories to your diet. Perhaps you do a little bit less cardio. But what you don't do is say, the diet's over, I'm going to eat anything and everything in sight. You don't go and buy every candy you've ever wanted in your life and eat at every fast food chain in the first week after a show. This is a huge mistake.
Yeah, I've been told not to take it too far, and after a couple of days, slow down. So I'm thinking, I'm not even half a day in, so I got nothing to worry about right now. Woke up that morning, about 260. So just from those few meals.
And so he's laughing about this, but it's very serious. And this is not a reward. You don't starve yourself for weeks on end and say, I'm going to treat myself with eating a bunch of shit food. Eating junk is not a reward. If anything, it should be considered a punishment. Does he look healthy? Does this look like a reward to you? Oh, I'm going to reward myself, gain 53 pounds, put my kidneys, my heart, my health at risk. Does that make sense?
Right now, you're seeing the most bloated version of Larry Wheels to ever have existed and walk this earth. I'm not proud of my work, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to glorify how much water retention I have going on right now.
And he says he's not trying to glorify the weight gain, but as he describes eating 20,000 calories, how can you not help but wonder, is this okay? It's a bodybuilding show. Why can't he reward himself? Coach Greg, you're being too hard on himself. Why can't you just let him be?
Then look at the cankles. Come here, Adam. Get the cankles. Oh, that's nasty.
It's terrible, dude.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And so you can see he has serious edema. His legs are swollen. Remember, this is a guy with 4% body fat, but as he stands right now, you wouldn't even think he has single-digit body fat. Water is pooling in his legs, his cankles, he has swelling, and this is not good. This is a sign that your body is shutting down. And so because of this pitting edema, having gained 53 pounds in 5 days, I'm going to explain just exactly why it's so dangerous. And so what you need to understand is there is an actual term for what's going on. It's called refeeding syndrome. This happens to a large amount of people. In fact, many people who have an ED, you can't suddenly just eat as much as you want. If you're suffering from certain eating conditions, I don't want to get demonetized, and you suddenly just eat everything and anything, it's not good, it's not healthy, and it's known as refeeding syndrome. It's actually a thing, it's a medical term. And so in the real world, refeeding following a severe fast, an extreme cut to this extent. Remember, he was at 1,200 calories a day for 3 weeks straight, and he is a very large man. This should be done under medical supervision. Can you see why? Does anyone raise your hand think it's okay, that it's safe, that it's healthy, that it's not a big deal to gain over 50 pounds in 5 days? It's not good. And so here's what happens. When you're on a calorie restricted diet, you're eating hardly any calories. You're definitely in a deficit. Your insulin levels, they go down, way down. Your body then becomes super insulin sensitive. It's as if your muscles, your body becomes like a sponge. Any carb intake at all, it's going to soak it in very fast. And due to this deficit, not eating enough calories, you're going to be deficient in many micronutrients, electrolytes, things of that nature. And so once you open the floodgates and you start eating, insulin allows everything into the cell more so than ever before. And so we have too many electrolytes entering the cell, the main ones being potassium, magnesium, and phosphate. And because of this, they're all in the cells. There are not enough of these into the blood. And so what this causes is an electrolyte imbalance. And so your body starts hoarding water. It's sucking up everything that you drink. You're not going to the bathroom, you're not peeing. And so you may in fact feel bloated, hydrated. Wow, oh my goodness, look how hydrated he is. What's actually happening in the body is he's literally dehydrated despite having all this extra fluid. The fluid is not in the right spaces. Think of it, he has pitting edema. The water is flowing down his extremities. It's being pulled down by gravity. This causes the water to leak out of the vasculature. So the water is no longer in the veins and arteries. It's actually seeping outwards and pooling into the legs. And so some of the main risks that can occur of this, one of them is rhabdomyolysis. He actually had this in the past. And so this makes him far more susceptible to getting rhabdo. Remember, he's already had this very serious. And so clearly he doesn't want to have it again. And another risk factor, something very dangerous, he potentially could get cardiac arrhythmias. This is the result of having not enough potassium in the blood. And so think of what Larry has done to being the equivalent of this. Imagine injecting your entire day's worth of insulin all at once and injecting 10 or 15 IV fluid bags to rehydrate your body. And at the same time, eating your face off, drinking everything in sight. The body simply can't handle all of that nutrition, the refeeding. And so although it could be beneficial in smaller portions, when you overdo something, the body, it can't handle it. It's no longer in homeostasis. And this is when things can go wrong. And so what can result from this? Well, the kidneys can stop working. They're not doing their job. You end up having to go to the hospital. They give you diuretics, possibly Lasix or other diuretics, causing the body to then excrete that water. But remember, if you keep going to the hospital to make yourself lose water and then you eat after, this cycle continues. It's not healthy. It's very dangerous. And so what is the solution? When the diet is over, slowly introduce extra calories into your diet. Don't go crazy. Take your time. If you see you're up 20 or 30 pounds, remember, Larry's up 53 pounds. 20 or 30 pounds, it's way too much. You need to slow it down. It's for your health. Please be more cautious than last time. And look, I get it. You're starving. You just finished a diet, 3 or 4 months. You haven't eaten hardly anything, and you can't control your cravings. But does that mean you can't have a salad? Does that mean you can't eat fruit? Why do we have to eat calorie-dense foods? 20,000 calories, that is a lot of food. For anyone, even in form of chips and ice cream, it's a lot of food. But imagine trying to consume 20,000 calories in bananas, chicken salads, and so on. There's no way you're going to do it. And so why not just choose healthier foods? You can still have that binge. You can still eat to your stuff, to your full, but it would be far fewer calories. The body can handle that, and then you can go on. It's going to take some time for your body to adjust to those hormonal imbalances. Your ghrelin, the hunger hormone, is through the roof. Don't have enough leptin, and so it's very hard to shut the floodgates. But I promise you, if you eat lower calorie dense foods, more proteins, more fiber, vegetables and fruits, it's not going to be that bad. And so one of the suggestions I would make is, of course, my frigging cookbook. If you just ate from this, there's no way you're eating 20,000 calories. It would be impossible. You wouldn't be able to do it. And you'd be full, you'd be satisfied, and you wouldn't be up 53 pounds. Oh no, I don't want the cookbook. Why? You don't like eating healthy, delicious meals? You don't like feeling full? You don't like craving foods that you can't eat? What's wrong with getting a freaking cookbook and making the exact meals that you love? They're just made lower in calories, higher in protein and fiber, and it's healthy. If you're interested in a cookbook, code Greg, 10% off. Click the link in the description.
The rebound is serious, and the floodgates do open. If you let it get out of control, like I did, here you are with what I imagine to be 30 pounds of water retention.
And so Larry, clearly he admits it. The floodgates got out of control. I couldn't control it. When you've been dieting to this extent, you're not going to be prepared for just how hungry you can get. Ghrelin is through the roof. It's as if it takes over your body. You can't control your eating. And so I caution you, be very careful when you diet, especially when you go into very low calorie deficits. Those are the most difficult to come back from. That is why I suggest to lose weight slower than last time. No more than 1% of your body weight per week. If you can do that, it's much easier. You'll feel balanced control. You won't crush your testosterone levels from crash dieting. You'll feel better. And when you regain the weight, you regain it slowly, the same as you lost it. And so another problem with all this weight gain is the heart has to work that much harder. Think of it. All this extra water in your body is increasing your blood pressure, and the heart has to pump against that resistance. It has to work harder than last time. And so your heart is on overdrive trying to pump out all this blood, and that, of course, can create further issues down the line.
And be careful moving forward, because at the rate I'm going, I'll be 300 something pounds. I just won't stop.
And so he says, I have to be careful. At the rate I'm going, I'm going to be 300 plus pounds. Exactly. Please be careful. Stop eating. Remember, he's carbed up for several days following the competition. He's got a ton of carbs. Glycogen stores are full. And so why bother continue to eat? You're eating 1,200 calories a day for 3 weeks. There's no reason why after eating 20,000 calories, you can't just say, yeah, that's enough. We're going to go on a break now, 53 pounds. Perhaps when I get down to only 40 pounds above my weight, then I'll start eating.
Because having cankles and feeling like in here, it's painful, it's tender. Like maybe it's pressing against nerves. I don't know what it is. It's uncomfortable.
And so with this kind of edema, up 53 pounds, I'm surprised he doesn't hurt everywhere. Is there a spot on his body that makes sense? I'm surprised he even talked, that he can stand up, that he's actually appears to be normal. For many people, this would do them in. 53 pounds, let that sink in. And remember, this kind of fluid overload, it can go anywhere. It can even go into your lungs. It make it difficult to breathe. It's not healthy. Please be cautious.
I don't regret nothing. I don't regret a single bite of food in the last 2 days. I got to have the whole bodybuilder experience, rebound and everything. I got to tick it off the box.
Well, let me tell you this kind of weight gain following a show, it's not part of the bodybuilding experience. I've done 59 competitions. I've never in my life gained anything near this. This is too much. This is not part of bodybuilding.
Life is all about experience. I got to experience it, getting fully depleted, completely starved.
And so Larry says life is all about experiences. Well, this is an experience that I wouldn't want to have. Let me know in the comment section, did you learn something? Do you understand the dangers of refeeding syndrome? Do you understand you can't just binge on anything following a show? It's not healthy, it's not smart. Ending it here. Interested in any of the harder than last time supplements, including the #1 selling GO2 Max, please click the link in the description. Don't forget, code Greg, 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, please leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. Like this video if you liked it. Watch one of the 2 bloops. And of course, cookbooks, training books, the Circle Diet book, all of this on my website. Free diet and training program, close to 50 pages. Click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. And until next time, I am out.